Okay, look at me. You hear the three words they like to throw at you. You've got to make sure you keep them separate and distinct, even though they are very related. They like to ask about slope of the line tangent, equation of the line tangent, and then they often will say, use the line tangent. Don't get the three mixed up. They're asking about three separate and distinct but related items. Pretty good. Okay, here it says slope of the line tangent to the graph. So my memory would go right to this box on the golden notes, right here. Top of the page. It says f prime, which is the same thing as dy dx, is a formula that can be used to find these four items. Okay, those four items are all the same thing. They're just different ways of saying the same thing. So when they say find the slope of a line that is tangent to f, they're right here. Which means I need to take my formula for f, and I need to find the derivative of my formula. That will give the formula that can find the slope of any line tangent to f. And then I just plug into that formula the x-coordinate they're asking about. That makes sense. Points for Maddie. Follow-up question? So I take the derivative. Quotient row bottom multiplied by the derivative of the top. The derivative of the top will be e to the negative 1x multiplied by the derivative of negative 1x, which is negative 1. If you get used to using parentheses, you'll make fewer mistakes. Like dots often get lost. Parentheses are actually a better choice. Then I take the top. Another place I've seen a lot of mistakes is negative x confuses people. Negative 1x does not. So I prefer to use negative 1x. Questions about anything? Please raise your hand if you know whether or not it is legal to divide these two items, expressions. Hands up. Who knows whether it's legal or not to divide those two? Let's go, Andrew.
No, it's not, because we have to factor it out of both parts of the top.
Well done. So the numerator is really best thought of as being a large term plus another large term. You cannot divide terms. We divide factors. And there's no way to factor the numerator to create this as a factor of the numerator, at least not easily, so we're not going to divide. How many knew it? Point to friend. Please.
So if you were to try to divide those two, would you do would you separate the two factors on top and then just divide them both by x plus 1 squared?
Well, you could take this term over this denominator minus this term over the same denominator, create two separate fractions.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
You can do that. That is legal. I've never typically found it to be helpful in this situation. 2 points, please.
When you get to this point, should you worry about trying to factor out and simplify, or should you just plug in 1?
Well said, 2 points. My goal here is just, I've got the formula. This is my formula for finding the slope at any point on this curve. So I don't need to keep messing around with the formula. I can just plug in my value of 1. So replace all variables with parentheses to avoid mistakes. Times 1, I don't really need to do that. Question? Please.
Original equation of chapter 9, the second e and negative 1x is multiplied by a certain number of expressions.
saying if this is 2 right here, I still wouldn't have to have parentheses because minus 2 factors multiplied together, there's no distribution. So it doesn't really matter. If these 2 terms here are adding, then I've got to make sure I put all of it in parentheses. Yeah. 20. Cool, so keep going. So y prime of 1. That's going to be negative 2 e to the negative 1 minus e to the negative 1 all over 4. But this in the numerator is just negative 3 e to the negative 1. And then they said, okay, that's none of the answers, so I gotta mess around with this a little bit. You don't have trouble to there. Please.
Would you not just factor out an e to the negative 1 from the numerator and have e to the negative 1 times negative 2 minus 1?
That will work as well.
Because that gives you a different answer, I think, doesn't it?
So you're looking right here, yes, Luke?
Yeah.
You're looking right here. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to factor out an e to the negative 1. So you got y prime of 1 is equal to e to the negative 1.
Never mind, I see what I did.
You see it now?
Yeah.
2 points for a good question. Yeah. Anybody else? So then this can change to this. Don't really like going across the page. This is negative 3 all over 4 multiplied by 1 all over e to the positive 1. Now I can see the answer. Question? Patty?